Yo, hey guys, this is Fatih. So today I'm just gonna explain how to mod basically any Unreal Engine 4 game. So there are a few tools that you will need, which is the UE viewer from Gilder. I'm gonna paste all the links and whatnot in this description as well. So we need the UE viewer from Gilder, the XRX importer for 3ds Max. You will need a script called Street Fighter 5 Extracts. So basically, I'm just using this one, but it works with other games as well. So it's not Street Fighter 5 exclusive. Um, so this one is HXD. It's basically a hex editor, which is useful for viewing some of the information in the file and stuff like that. And then the last one is a mod manager by Fluffy Quack. So we will download all of that stuff first. So let's see, we need the Windows version, the XRX importer. I'll just download the scripts quickly as well. Now for this one, I'm gonna go with the English version just because you can download whatever language you want, obviously. And then the mod manager. I've pretty much got all of these installed already, so I'm not gonna go over like showing everything, but these are the main 5 tools that you will need. So I'm just gonna close all of that. So the next thing is you need to figure out which version of the engine you are using. Which version of the engine the game is using that you want to mod. So I'm just gonna go into my projects folder. So I've got a copy of the game. Like I made a backup of the game and put it in a separate folder. I mean, having a backup is always handy. So I'm just gonna go to builds, the build.version. I'm just gonna open it with Notepad or any other text editor basically. So the major version, like what you need to know is 4.11 is for this game. Street Fighter used 4.7, I believe. So this is needed when you're going to make a new project because your project needs to be the same engine version as the game is using. So for this project, we know it's 4.11, so just keep a note of that. The next thing that you need to do is you need to unpack this .pack file. So for that, we need Street Fighter 5 extract. I'm just gonna copy and paste everything into the packs folder. Click and drag into extract all, and just wait for it to do its magic. I'm gonna fast forward this stuff, so yeah, check back in a bit. Alright, so it's done extracting all the files. It's in the out folder. So here you can see that all of the assets from the .pack file has been extracted and put into their like folders and stuff like that. The folder structure is important when you make a UE4 project to make all your games. Your mods. This is important because you're basically going to replace the files in the actual game, and you need to have all the references and stuff set accordingly. So the folder structure is important when making mods. So just keep that in mind. I'm just going to copy out or move the out folder into a folder that's more easily accessible. So for this one, just gonna put it in my roots of my hard drive. I'm just gonna call it BS mods or unpacked. Cool. So I'll just close off this window. So and paste all that stuff here. Cool. So with all of that unpacked, we actually need to be able to view the assets, and that's where we're going to use UModel. So with UModel, I just copy and paste everything into the root of the content folder. I mean, you can pretty much paste it everywhere, but it's easier to have it in the content folder. So when you need to search for the assets, you're basically starting this folder. So in this one as well, you can set the engine version, like to 4.11 for this game, or you can just leave it as is and make it search or pick automatically what version of the engine it's using. And just cool. Alright, with that we are able to access pretty much all the assets in the game. And for this one, because I made a really quick mod for an enemy, I'm just gonna show the enemy that I used and export that one. Cool, so with that selected and opened in UA Viewer, you can just go to Tools, Export Current Objects, and it will export everything related to this one. So for example, the textures, the materials, and all that stuff. So I'll just export that, open the export folder. And here you can see all the folders and stuff that it's using. So this again is important when creating your own projects for your mod. So for example, these are some of the textures that it's using. Cool. So with that exported, let's just quickly make a new UE4 project. And again, I'll just fast forward where it's taking a bit of time. So I think it goes without saying that you will need the Unreal 4 engine to actually create a mod for your for the game that you want to mod. So in library, go to engine version, add version, and then select the version that you need. I've already got it installed, so but you will need to pick 4.11 in this case for Bloodstained. So I'll just click launch, and you can pretty much create any projects that you need. It doesn't really matter what kind of assets or templates you go with, because you will be adding your own assets and whatnot. So create new projects. I'll just go with blank because I don't need any of the content that it comes with. So I'll pick no starter content. Yeah, just figure out where you wanna create the project. In this case, I'll just go to my project files, create a new folder, call it Bloodstained _ mods. And call it BS mods for this one, and then create projects. Cool. So now with Unreal Engine running, we can start adding our basic folder structure. So you need to copy basically what the game is using. So for example, for the enemy that we want to mod, in this case, in this example, I'll just go to the source file that we need, which is this one. I'll just recreate this folder. So as you can see, it already has a content folder. And we're just gonna add anything that comes after that. So new folder, enemy, new folder, set K 150. Folder, model. And in this folder, we will need to add the texture that we want to change. So because I already created a quick test. I'm just gonna use that one. So this is the modded texture that I made. I'll just copy this one. And this one as well, because it's actually using two textures. So I'll just import those to my project. And you need to make sure to actually save them, because in a bit we will cook the project, and any asset that's not saved will not cook. So just make sure that it's actually saved inside of the project. In this case, the enemy has a weapon as well. So I'm gonna import the weapon texture into its own. Actually, let's see, just to make sure. Yeah, the weapon is in the same folder, so I'll just import that as well and save it. You can right click and save the assets. For example, you can select multiple and then save. You can also go to file and then save all, which will save everything. And actually, before we cook, we need to change some settings. So we basically want to make it so that the engine isn't creating a .pack file for all the assets, so that each asset that it cooks is a separate .u asset. Yeah, so go to packaging, and then make sure that use spec file is set is unticked. And after that, when we create or cook a project, it will actually create the separate files that we need to replace in the game. So let's go to BS mods, cooked, and it should show all the, well, you don't need this one. So here are all the .u assets. I think, actually, let's see. Yeah, so you need to make sure that the file names and everything is exactly the same. So in this one I messed up, so I need to change that in the projects. So the weapon should be called T_ZK015, etc. So just make sure to change that. Let's see, body base, is it correct? So that one seems to be correct, and unit base seems to be correct as well. So again, I'll just do a quick cook. So we can delete this because it was the incorrect one. Alright, so here are all the files that we created for our mod. I'll just copy them for now. So the other thing that we need is the mod manager from Fluffy Quack. Again, I'll put the link into the description. So I'll just quickly unpack that. So you actually need to put the mods inside of the proper folders. So for this one, there's already a mod installed with it, which removes the background music from the game. You can keep it, or just delete it if you don't need it. So I like to create a new folder with my raw mods in there, because we will need to create a like a single file for the mods. And again, you need to make sure that the folder structure is correct. So I'll just try to let's see. Just paste the files that we had copied into the model folder. Just so with this one we can create a .ini file, which I'll just copy and paste from a mod I made previously. In this mod .ini file, it will basically just show some information about the mod itself. So this mod.ini file you can basically create in any text editing program. So I'll just create a quick text document, call it modinfo.ini. And I'll just copy and paste what I had before. It's pretty straightforward. It's like all this stuff, like the name of the mod, which version, and stuff like that. If you want, you can add a screenshot as well. So any .jpeg will work. Just make sure that the name is set correctly. So just for a quick test, I'll just use a screenshot of a different mod I created earlier. So I'll just copy that, change mod info. So you will need to create the single peg or a single mod file. You will need a tool called pkg. What's it called? Let's see. pkg tool. I'll create a. Or I'll paste the link in the description as well for that. Just a quick one, which I forgot to mention, is you will need to create a folder for the entire mod. So for this one, I'll just call it bloody $hammer. Cool. So just drag the mod folder onto the package tool, and it will create a .pkg, which is easier to manage, and just paste it into the mods folder. So now in the mod manager, you will need to do a few things. So select the game, obviously. Go to options, define game info, set current game to Bloodstained. The mods directory should be where the mods folder. You don't need to change it, but if you have your mod folder somewhere else, you can change it to whatever. So I'll just keep it as this. The Steam directory. So if you hit enter, it will just find the Steam directory automatically, I believe. But if you want to change it, you can change it to whatever, which I'm going to do for this one because I've already got the game installed. So I'll just use this backup folder. So if the game is installed in a folder that's not the Steam folder, just make sure to set it here as well. So now we have access to the mods. Just go to full mod list, refresh list, reread game archives. And as you can see, I've got so the mod is displaying in the mod manager. So the info in the mod info.ini file shows up inside of this mod manager. So when you hover over, you'll see a description, and the screenshot will be put in there. So just click on it once and it's installed. After that, just go back to the main menu and launch game to test the project in-game. And there we have it. So this the enemy that we just modded. As you can see, it has a new texture on it. So that's one way to do it. If you want to do actual model changes, you will need 3ds Max, which I'll show as well. I'm not gonna show the actual content creation part of it, but I'll just show how to quickly get something into the engine so you can mod it. And I'll just use a old model or mod that I created for this. Alright, so with Max Hope, you need to go to scripting, run script. Go to the folder where you unpacked the 3ds Max XRX plugin and just run this script. So with this one, let's see, I'll just close all of those. Make sure I've actually got a model that I can import. So in this case, I'm going to show how to do a quick accessory. So just load in the skhead underscore defaults. So this is the model that we're going to change. It's the default accessory on Miriam's head. So just go export current object. And this the file that we will need to run through the script in 3ds Max to get a object that we can import into Unreal Engine. So here's the assets. We can just go quickly and export it. Just make sure that the file name and stuff is the same as the actual asset. So sk underscore head 01 underscore default. So again, I'm not going to show the actual content creation part, but I'll just import a mod that I created previously into the Unreal Engine 4. So again, we need to make sure that default structure and all that stuff is correct. So I'll just create a new folder. Which in this case is accessories at 01 model. And this one I'll just copy and paste the files. So again, you want to make sure that the texture files and stuff, file names are correct. So I'll just copy and paste my textures and double check the file names. And for some textures, you will need to change a few settings. So it's auto detected this map as a normal map, which is not what it is. It's a collection of masks. So for example, if you single out the channels, you can see like there are different masks in different channels. So this is the ambient occlusion, for example. So I'll just change this back to whatever it was. Save it. We don't need this one anymore, so I'll just delete it. There's another thing we need to make sure we do with model files, which is we need to check the references to the materials. So I'm just gonna open this one with HXD. So here it will show that it's actually a instance material, which is different from a normal material in Unreal Engine. So we need to change that. So just select both materials, create material instances, and make sure that the file names are correct. So for this one, we can just delete the original ones, but I'll delete them after I've assigned the new materials. Because the element order of the materials is important as well. So I'll just delete the original one and then rename them so the file name is correct. And again, just make sure to actually save all the files that you wanna make a mod of. So I'll just save everything. Or you can just choose save all, and then again just package or cook the project rather. So with that content, let's see, I'll just copy the entire accessories folder. And again, I'll just create a basic folder structure for the mods. So I just call it top heads folder 1. Contents, and just paste cooked files. I'm gonna delete a few things because we don't actually need that for the mod to work. So the material instance we can delete. The skeletons we can delete as well. And the physics assets. So basically, the only reason why we cooked these assets as well is because we need the references to them. So we can just get rid of those and just use the actual changes that we made. So which is in this case the head accessory and the textures for it. And then finally, if we want, we can again create another mod.ini file. I'll just copy this one, paste in here, and then modify it. So I'm just gonna call it top heads. Top heads as. And I'll just get rid of the file name because we don't have a screenshot for it. So I'll just save that. Just drag and drop into the package tool. And then finally copy and paste it into the mods folder. So now when we go to manage mods, there will be another item in the list. So we'll just install that and then launch the game again. So now as you can see, she actually has a different accessory on her head. And that's basically how you create a model swap along with the textures. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, just put them into the comment section below.